Hello and good evening. Welcome to the Coach's Corner. Tonight we are back for another post-Pennsic breakdown. The coaches tonight are going to talk about the battles. That is both the Sunday battles and all of the big rapier and heavy battles all week long. So to kick us off and introduce everybody, I'm going to hand it off to Bari.
Thank you very much. I'm dealing with technology, not problems. These are actually solutions here. But I got two screens. There's a lag. This is going to drive me nuts. I got to come up with a better system. There's a lag, and I see myself over here, and I'm trying to figure out how to say hi to people. But anyway, I'm also burning a little bit of time because I know people don't log in right away. We're up to 9 people. So that's, oh, there I am pointing at myself. Anyway, hey. Welcome back to Coach's Corner. We're going to do a post-Pennsic how everything went and how fun it was. Some of you may have seen my post recently. Louis and the Dragon is in trouble. We've already had some melee practices, preparing to beat the mid next year. If you saw it, I don't think you'd be too concerned. They weren't that motivated. I think we did like 6 battles and then just called it a day. But anyway, so up here we have Coach's Corner regular. Introduce yourself, please.
Earl Louis, coming from the mid-realm.
All right. And then we have a new person right here, new to us, new to Coach's Corner.
Yeah, I'm Master John Drake from Onstura.
All right. And thank you. He was a good last-minute addition, and we're very happy that he was able to join. And then down here, my sister from another mister.
I am Teagn of Anglesey, and I'm from Atlantia.
Yes, Her Excellency, the Baroness Teagn of Anglesey. All right, so here we go. Let's get started. So, Pennsic, we had, what would it be? 6 days of fighting. We started off on Sunday, so... and again, we did a show before that kind of prepped everything, so you can sort of go back through history if you want to find out what was going to happen at Pennsic, and then you can watch this show and find out if it actually happened. Yeah, so we had battles Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That would be 6 days. I believe Saturday is opening ceremony, so Sunday is typically what we call Champions Day. And this Pennsic was what we call a purple Pennsic. And I'm going to hand this off to Louis for just a bit and explain what a purple Pennsic is. Since you've actually been a king at Pennsic before, you would have a lot more insight than we would.
So this year, the East and Mid-Realm allied together and took on Atlantia and Ethelmark and all the, basically the known world, all the allies across. So it's a little bit different. In the end, when we looked at numbers, they were incredibly close. And there was an effort to try to make sure that numbers were pretty even, at least at the start of the week. Sometimes near the end of the week, people who drive, travel further, usually pack up and start going Friday or something like that. So the numbers started dwindling down a little bit, but to start out, everything looked like it was pretty good there on both sides.
And then Teagn, would you like to interject? This is the first year Atlantia that you've experienced has been a principal, and I know you did a lot of the behind the scenes work with that. And as someone who's done enjoyed the Pennsic vacation for 20-something years now, what was that experience like?
I mean, I have a new appreciation for the East and the Mid and all the planning that goes into Pennsic, because typically Atlantia, while it's a big kingdom, is not a principal kingdom and doesn't have all the same responsibilities that the East and Mid do, because it's the East and Mid's war. So now that it was the East, Mid, and Ethelmark and Atlantia's war, we had more administrative stuff to do. So that was very eye-opening. So I do have more appreciation for all the volunteers, all the people who set up, all the marshals who volunteer, the people who plan all of the different scenarios and the schedule. So yeah, kind of see how the sausage is made, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, and I also want to comment on something that Louis said about the numbers. This is something that I guess I became privy to sometime in the last few years, just helping our warlord out with some stuff. And yeah, so you have, like I said, you try to balance the numbers, but so there's two issues there. One is you have generally, in the big picture, you have armored and rapier. We also have archers. We also have throwing weapons. We also have the ANS competition. But really, the armored and the rapier is the big thing. You have some kingdoms have a bigger balance between armored. Like some kingdoms may have a lot of armored and not much rapier at all, and other kingdoms have a lot of rapier. And so, like, you might be balanced in the rapier side, but not balanced on the armored, or vice versa. So that's the one thing you deal with. And then the other thing you deal with, like Louis said, it depends on a lot of logistics, but yes, some people leave early because they travel a long way to get there. And then the flip side is, if you're very local, you've got a lot of people that might just take a long weekend. They might just take Monday off or Monday and Tuesday off, and they count for the numbers, but they can actually go to the event. Whereas if you're traveling, say, from like Florida, you would say, I'm not going to fly to Pennsic just to fight 2 days and then fly home. So that kind of throws off the numbers. But as Louis said, we try.
Yeah, just to give a little bit of stats here. The initial numbers that we had was approximately 928 armored combatants. There was like 460 to 465 is where we started, and then on the rapier side, we had 354 fighters. 176 to 178. So very close.
Okay, nice. So it was like 350 and 900.
Yeah, a little over 900.
Okay. Anyway, so because it's a Purple Pennsic, typically on Sunday we have the Allied Champs battle. Sai, would you ever pull that one up and show the video if you don't mind, please? You can fast forward to the part where you broke your spear if you want. Heroically, she heroically broke her spear.
I don't know where in the video it is.
No, I'm joking. Just this is the part of the video I'm not in. Yeah, so this would be we see a lot of two chucks here. This is the right flank. So what this battle is, I'll give you the short version since we actually covered this before Pennsic. It's 100 on 100. You have 3 minutes to grab a flag. If you die, you go back to a resurrection corral. Every 3 minutes, they let the corral open, and then everyone sort of rushes back out there. Normally, the East and the Mid do not get to play in this battle. This year, we did get to play in this battle. And actually, John, did you fight in this, or did you just do rapier Pennsic?
I did both. Yeah, I fought in this.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
This was actually
then all of us fought in this battle. So I guess Louis and I can tell you it was like from the purple side. I know one of the challenges we had was that just because of the nature of Pennsic, the belted champs and the unbelt champs are a very big deal for the kingdoms, which meant a lot of people did not want to fight this battle. They sat it out, and there was definitely a disparity of Shiv level and Grant level fighters. We were very light on our side, and I know a lot of the Shiv that we had were kind of old, myself included. I'm just spitting facts here. In fact, I'd asked, I said, we need some volunteers to guard the banner, some people to hang back and not do a lot of running. And instantly all these knights with white beards, which mine would be white too if it grew out, raise their hands. I'm like, okay, let's do it. I had the pleasure of working with Pellinor, who's been a regular on the show many times. We basically commanded for the Mid and the East. And then Vicar from the Two Chucks, we worked with him. He's not in this. He might be in this video somewhere. And we relied a little bit on the Two Chucks on our right flank because they've done this battle a gabillion times. So we figured that they would kind of understand what they're doing. I sent the Mid to the left because the Mid actually had a couple of organized units, whereas the East, we really just had kind of whoever showed up. A lot of good fighters, but like we didn't have a single unit that we could sort of rely versus like the Mid had a lot of Dark Moon. Yeah, it was a learning experience. We lost by a lot, but we got better as the day went on. The first like 3 flags were grabbed very quickly by the green team. And we started to slow that down. And so for anyone, it's like the same thing in singles fighting. It's, a win is a success, but sometimes a loss can be a success if you're learning and you're improving. So just slowing those down. And then once a lot of the starters started to sit on the green team, it got to be a lot more even. We started winning about every other flag. And so that was a big boon for us. And I know sometimes that the other side might have just been sitting people, just kind of make it a little more competitive. And we appreciate that. Louis, any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I just have to say, I only joined in about halfway through. And we were pretty much depleted at about 35 minutes with no alternates left to go in, 40 minutes, something like that. But this is a lot of fun. The little bit I got to play, it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, you went out with a sword and shield, right?
Yeah.
One of the things I like about this battle is that like every weapons form and every type of fighter has a role on the field. Commanders have roles. People are the big that don't swing a lot, but they push around. They have roles. Spears have roles. Poles, fast people, shields, everything. Teagn, insights?
Yeah, I mean, for Atlantia, this is one of our favorite battles. We have a record of performing pretty well, and we do plan for this because, as typically a non-principal kingdom, we get to fight in this every year. And because we're one of the bigger armies that comes to Pennsic that's not East or Mid, we have a big role. And same with Ethelmark too. So, we have a system. I'm not going to give away all the secrets, but one thing that isn't a surprise is we do make sure we have a deep bench and lots of subs, because we do know that there is attrition.
And then John, have you fought this before? And how did it go this year?
Yeah, I fought it 1 year before, but I had a lot more fun this year. This is actually my favorite battle that I did of either field at the war. Yeah, that was a great time. I usually fight spear and melees, but I fought sword and shield in this. That was Boomy's recommendation, just to kind of like run into people. And
there's an example of someone grabbing a flag and running across the field. So that's
perfect.
Yeah. That, by the way, every time that happens, it's kind of fun for the sideline too, because okay. So Louis, do you guys have a nickname for this battle, or do you just call it the Allied Champs battle?
I'm capture the flag, or everyone calls it the Allied football game.
Okay, yeah, they call it Atlantean football over here. No offense, Ethelmarkians. It's probably just the rolls off the tongue a little bit better. And there's Vicar right there. He's the big tall guy with the spear.
It's kind of almost a little bit rugby like.
Yeah. It's neat. It's probably very non-historical, but it is a fun game. It's a lot of fun. And in fact, we had a lot of fun prepping for this year. We did some small battles. We just had to make smaller fields. I think the one we did at a war camp, we had 18 on a side, roughly is what it was. We learned some stuff doing it. I gotta say 18 on 18 is a whole lot more tiring than 100 on 100.
But Barry, can I just say, I think you did raise a good point about, or maybe it was John, that there's a role for every type of fighter in this battle. Like if you're fast, then maybe you're going to be the flag catcher. If you're like slower, bigger, then you're probably going to try to defend your own flag. So if you kind of like to fight more independent, you're going to kind of intercept the flag runners. So I think it's like you said, it's every weapons form can be accommodated. Every type of fighter can be accommodated.
Yeah. This would be really nice just for like an event. If somebody had an event somewhere and just, this is what we're doing today, just all day long.
So let me ask Teagn this. Having played this a number of times, do you think we could play this 300 versus 300?
I mean, conceivably, but I think you would probably need more than one flag. Like, I don't know, like.
Well, that could be interesting too.
Yeah, we need a noodle on that, because the thing that makes this also really good is that the field is the right size for the number of combatants. So we would have to do the math on that and see how that could work. And then the question is, well, if you have 300 people trying to get one flag, is that realistic? But I mean, definitely something worth noodling.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the point that Teagn has made that I think is a fascinating point. So this battle has been done every year for at least 30 years. I mean, it goes back to when we first started, and it's slowly transformed over time. They've slowly tweaked the rules. And in fact, my understanding is this setup is pretty good. It's a little bit more spread out. I think it used to be narrower with more ranks.
Yes. It used to be more concentrated, I felt.
And I even heard someone say that based on the last couple of years, they might need to shorten that resurrection time, because just as the game has evolved, 3 minutes is kind of like not a lot. They kind of like to have it where like maybe half the time the resurrection corral comes out. Anyway, let's move on the day. We're just going to go chronologically. So Unbelt battle. This was an interesting one. Teagn, you also fought in this one, didn't you?
I did. And this, and I said in the coach's corner, the pre-Pennsic coach's corner going over this. So this is a battle that typically Atlantia and Ethelmark and every other allied doesn't get to fight in, because it's in a normal Pennsic, it's reserved for just the East Kingdom Unbelts and the Mid-Realm Unbelts. But in the past, they have allowed allies to participate in the alternates. So we did understand like what it was. But I mean, like the Allied Champions battle is something that Atlantia does and performs well. And, this, we knew coming in that this is something the East Kingdom and the Mid-Realm take very, very seriously and train all year for it. So, but it was still a great opportunity to fight. It's just a single death battle, 50 on 50. So it was pretty much half Atlantia, half Ethelmark on our side, with a smattering of a couple other allies and mercenaries here and there. And it ended pretty quick. Not in green team's favor, but that's okay. It was a learning lesson.
Yeah, this one, it's a fast, hard-hitting battle. And again, I think the advantages definitely go to people that have done it a lot. I know you guys do the 10-man, and you've done the 10-person battle before. How does it compare to that?
I thought they would be similar, but it's not. It's not. Atlantia performed very differently there than here. And I feel like I need to think about that more as to why, because it's still kind of the same. It's like quick engagement, single death, but yeah, it very, I guess, different.
In this year, it was a little bit different. You said it was 50 on 50, and usually it's somewhere like 30 on 30, or maybe a little bit higher than that. So 50 is a pretty good size battle here.
Yeah, I think the big difference is, now I've not done the 10-person. I mean, I've certainly fought battles that size, and I did watch it. I've watched that several years. I watched it this year. I think the biggest difference is once you get to that 50 on 50, you have to get large masses of people to coordinate and throw themselves at somebody. Whereas the 10 on 10, you start getting this the three of us will break off here, and you get a lot more of that kind of individual cohesion. And I'll be honest, I watched our Unbelt team beat the Mid 2 or 3 years in a row, and then we lost the last two. I know we lost the last two, And this year, I thought the East Unbelts looked much better than they did the last 2 years. And it's just about that mass unit cohesion. I kind of felt like the last 2 years they were starting to get a little spread out, and we're just slower on making that decision to move and hit people in mass. And that's where I think the difference probably is. In the belted battle is very similar. So if we want to move on to the belted battle, Louis, did you fight in this?
I did.
Okay, John, did you fight in it?
I did not.
Okay, and I did not fight in this either. So I guess, and I'm assuming Teagn did not fight in it.
No.
So Louis, tell us about it then.
This was 30 on 30, 15, East, 15 mid, and again, it's like the Unbelt. It's very fast. Usually, it takes about a minute and a half, and it's just a high intensity, crazy battle.
Now, this one you have a little bit more. It looked like you guys had 2 small skirmish people off of your wide right flank. And I know the left flank, the East, pretty much stuck together. And I happen to know that the East had 3. They attempted to slow up the entire Atlantean army with 3 people, and they actually did a good job. And I've even heard got a lot of Atlantean friends, and they said they were a little disappointed that they didn't take care of that flank faster. But it's a lot of big, fast, hitting really hard. And I think a challenge for the belted battle, I've never done the belted battle, but I think a real challenge for it is that typically the kind of person that would be on a belted melee team is the kind of person that's used to being sort of a superhero in most melee battles. Like they're used to, I can go off and take care of these 3 people, or I can get in the backfield by myself and do something. And here, no matter where you go, you're running into people that can fight as well as you, and in a lot of cases, maybe better. We talked about that. We did a review a couple of years ago, and I think it was right after Pennsic. Again, we lost to the mid that year, and we're just reviewing what happened. And it did seem like a lot of people were getting into fights where they didn't have the advantage. Like you're expecting your skill to beat this person, and you're throwing shots at Sasha or Louis. It's just these are not your random fighters on a Pennsic battlefield.
Yeah, Sasha's right there out in Fox, and
yeah.
It was a good time.
Yeah, then we had one of our guys, Sir Hassan. He was not at Pennsic this year, but he told me one year it was like the plan was always for him to go out and flank something. He's like, every time I do that, the mid has this person shadow me. Now, I don't know if he shadows him specifically, but it's like an identical twin who he runs into. He's like, I can't just run out there and beat this person. It's not, this is a knight. So
it kind of strange. I think our average age is a little bit higher than at least for the mid. I want to say our average age is probably upper 40s.
Oh, that young. Yeah, probably the same on the East team. We don't get a lot of young knights anymore. And the young ones tend to be singles fighters, when they come around. Yeah, but on the other hand, you guys probably have the same thing I know we have in the East, is that it's you probably have a lot of knights on your team that it's not their first battle. You get a lot of cohesion, year after year after year. How many years have you done this?
For me, I got knighted in 2017, so every year except for when I was king.
Okay. Yeah. So same. So, if it wasn't for the pandemic, you'd have 6 or 7 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So, let's move on to the Rapier Champs. We've got 3 of these. Now I'm assuming John participated in these. Did you also, Louis?
I did not.
I did not fight in this, but
you guys are not fighting these. Well, I'm hoping you at least watch them or watch the videos and have some sort of expertise beyond what Teagn and I can bring.
I fought them before, not this year.
I believe it was 15 on 15, and there was 3 rounds.
So I think they normally do that 15 on 15. They normally do like the East and Mid 15-15, and then Allies 15-15, and then 30.
So it was 30-30.
So it was 30-30 the whole way through this year because of the Purple War. So that was a little different. Yeah, I mean, is a small Onstera usually only brings like 10-ish fighters for both fields. So like a lot of times they're like, oh, we have an extra couple spots, and it's like everyone kind of like all the Onsterans kind of look at each other like, well, who wants it, sort of. But sometimes east of the mid will be like they want a specific person, so that from my kingdom. So I've been asked to fight in this, and usually when you get to fight in this, it's kind of like the pressure off because it's a lot less pressure to fight melee champs than a singles champ, in my opinion. But it's usually pretty straightforward, fast battle, just like we were talking about with the belted champs.
Here we go.
I think a lot of times it ends up being like you try to match up these three fighters against this where you think they can find a hole, but or a weak spot. Maybe there's three less good fighters because you can be of any rank in this, I think. So it's usually mixed, and sometimes a lot of kingdoms will throw out kind of up and coming fighters to kind of see how they'll do in something like this, I think. Or if it's an allied kingdom, it's like, well, it's the one guy who came to Pennsic who was there that day, right? They're just trying to fill some spots.
So how many did you say this was? This looks like it's a lot more than 15 on 15.
30
Yeah.
30 against 30.
30 and 30. Okay.
On most years they do 15-15, like 15 mid, 15 east, and then 15 allies against 15 allies, and then the side, and then they'll do a third battle, which is 30 on 30. But they just
now it looks like
all year, all three of this one.
And apologize if you said this already. It looks like there's no spears.
I did not say that. I don't believe there were spears allowed in this one.
Okay, I don't see any.
Yeah.
If
they were allowed, they would be there. So
I see a handful of shields. Is that becoming more common now? The shields.
A lot of people think they are good to counter the spears, and then I find them more common from where I am, from down in the south part of the country in Texas and Onstera. I think there's less common down here, and they're more common up in the east and mid realm.
Oh, interesting.
For a long time, Gulf Wars had a shield size limit, which I think restricted like the coastal kingdoms from like the Gulf kingdoms from using bigger shields.
Okay. Yeah. And I guess if your shield gets small, then you might as well just have like a parrying sword or dagger or something like that.
I use a dagger when I do melees just because that's what I'm so comfortable with, like sword dagger, since that's what I fight everything with. The shield just feels like it gets in my way, but I tell a lot of newer fighters to use shields because it's passive defense. You don't have to actively think about when you're blocking, right? You just kind of keep it in front of you. It's like it's their first melee, be like, okay, get a shield or a buckler and go out. Yeah.
By the way, I'm learning a little bit here. I just saw somebody walk across the field with their sword turned upside down, holding it like this, and I guess that's the universal symbol for I'm dead.
Sometimes they make a big deal about people doing that. In one of the other battles, which was like one of the rapier ones, which was kind of a capture the flag thing, they made a big deal about doing that when you're dead because people were saying that someone who had scored, people thought they were dead. So, and then they ended up getting the flag. But
yeah, it's funny when I show like armored battles to non-fight, like non-SCA people, and one of the things they comment, they're like, "Oh, okay," and it looks like if you're dead, you're supposed to put your hand above your head. And I was like, well, actually, according to the rules, you're supposed to lay on the ground. I was like, but I think they might have added something to the new rules about doing that. It's like, it's just become a universal convention that if you're dead, walk around, just letting everyone know that you're a dead person. And you do that mainly because, one, you don't want to get hit, but also like you don't want to sneak into the backfield and they didn't ask me if I was dead or not.
Yeah. It's a bigger deal to make sure that people know you're dead in heavy than in rapier because it doesn't hurt as much to get hit, but
yeah, it's interesting with the shields too. So again, I've done a little bit of rapier. I'm not authorized, but I've been to a couple practices, and I know that rapier reminds me of spear in heavy. I think the closest thing. And we've had a lot of times people like I wouldn't have a shield in my arm, but another shield would come up and be like, I will defend you, and I'm like, no, your shield's just getting in my way. I'll defend myself. I'll use my range or my weapon. So I imagine,
definitely in a rapier melee, I will get really annoyed if someone comes up and they like they're like, oh, I'm with you, and they like are crowding me, and I'm like, no, you gotta give me a little room to work here.
Yeah.
But essentially, rapier melee is like spear and heavy. It's just closer and a little faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
3 feet, like 4 feet closer to each other.
Yeah. A little less armor.
A little less, but and you don't have to worry about a column charge coming in ever. So that's kind of the difference.
So we last week we covered armored heroics, but I guess we did not cover rapier heroics last week. Did you want to maybe give some highlights for the day from that day, John?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, I watched. I did not. It's actually one of the only years I've been to Pennsic and not participated in the rapier heroics, but I did watch every single one of those fights. I'm trying to play in my head which were the best fights of that day. Do we have videos of those, or?
I was trying to share some links, but it looks like it's not coming up. I'll drop one in the chat.
Yeah, we obviously wouldn't have the time today to cover all of them, but if we'd at least give I know that the heroics used to be just armored fighting, and then I guess at some point they added the rapier in there, and I'm even expecting that the rapier probably had its own tournament, and then they decided to combine it. Would be my guess.
As far as I've been going to Pennsic since 2014, and they've had it every year since then at least. And it's just been the same as the armored. One of the big differences is they do the picks. They pick the who fights who the night before, so like it's all decided out beforehand rather than making the calls on the day of. I think this was actually a C&T fight, if I remember correctly.
Okay, there's a round shield.
Yeah, I think it's a cut and thrust fight.
It sounds like with rapier that they do a lot of
I think there were 3 cut and thrust, and I think it was 19 total rapier fights.
That sounds right to me. Yeah,
16 plus 3.
And let's see. I know Tally from the east with the shield.
Yep.
I don't recognize the mid-realm or the other fighter, if it's a mid-realm or not. But.
That is SCA Tally, the one that has all of the YouTube channels, all the YouTube videos.
I watch a lot of his videos. So.
Yes, and hint, hint, he does not have a single service award. So if you're listening, yeah,
find the East Award Rack system.
Yeah, he kind of flies under the radar a little bit.
Yeah.
But here he is in a champions. Yeah, so he's from my area. He's from the Philadelphia area, and he's stopped fighting heavy probably around when he was about my age, and I'm starting to find out why. It's just heavy is tough on the joints. And then he moved into rapier, and just recently he's really been doing well. He's been winning some tournaments. He's been getting onto this heroics team.
Yeah, I've been.
And that's the same shield he would fight heavy with.
Really?
That's the shield he had when we met, 12 years ago.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, I've been following his progression mostly online, like watching his videos of fighting, and have seen him steadily improve, which has been really cool.
Yeah. He's really enjoying it. In fact, I'd say his love. Well, he's a college instructor. He's just a really smart guy that just really loves the nuances of the game. I think he really enjoyed how much more history there was in this than there's in armored fighting.
Oh yeah, because of the period manuals that we have.
Yeah. He was like, yeah, they've got a word for everything. I was like, yeah, I guess a linguistics professor would find that interesting, wouldn't they?
Yeah, him using that bigger shield definitely is an interesting, that's not as common in rapier, especially in singles. It's more common in melees. So
yeah, and I think he's got a curved sword too. I think that's
he does, yeah, which can be a little tricky to know when you go to parry it. It's not quite where you think it's going to be.
Yeah. How much longer does this fight have to go? Can we fast forward to the end? I I do want to see its conclusion here,
Let's see
and then
the
we can
tilt.
move on to the bridges.
John, does a rapier like heroics typically last this long?
I would say it could last anywhere from this. Like I tend to be an aggressive fighter, so my fights tend to last under a minute. But they can last this long or longer. It just kind of depends on the style of the two individuals.
Yeah.
People tend to be maybe a little more cautious in champs, in heroics because they don't want to make a stupid mistake. So they'll be probably a little more defensive than normal. He got both arms, so it looked like Teagn won.
Very good. Congrats.
Nice.
All right, and that was Sunday. And then on to Monday. There's a nice video. Who is this? Resist the Grind is the this person's page. And this is just kind of like a highlight video. Like they kind of pieced a lot of stuff together. I guess that might be Resist the Grind right there. One thing I'll make a shout out to is Renegade Paladin. Not for Pennsic 52, but for like almost every Pennsic before 52, because we relied so much on Renegade Paladin's videos, and I'm assuming he couldn't make it out this year. So there's a lot less video footage out there. So you were certainly missed. Teagn, you want to tell us what this that was Titus there, by the way. You want to tell us what the bridge battle's about?
Yeah, so there were 5 bridges, and there were 5 bouts, and each bout was 15 minutes, with the first 10 minutes being unlimited resurrection. And then at the 10-minute mark, it's single death. And then at the 15-minute mark, if the center bridge was contested, they would fight it out. I know from our perspective, Ethelmark was on the middle bridge, which is the bigger of all the bridges. Combat archery and siege were allowed on bridges 2, 3, and 4. So the middle 3 bridges. I know for Atlantia, we were on, I guess, the bridge that was second from the farthest from the castle. I'm just going to call that bridge 2.
Yes.
So that's where we started, but we didn't always stay there, depending on what was going on in the battle. But yeah.
I see some ballistas there. Did any marshals get hit in the head?
I hope not. Yeah, there was a lot of siege, at least on the green side. Ethelmark had a ton of siege engines and archers, and Atlantia brought a lot of archers too.
I believe it was the first battle, we had Ethelmark and Atlantia won 2 bridges, and Mid and East won 2 bridges, and then we had a bridge that was contested with not being contested because there was nobody on the bridge.
Oh. Oh wait, so no one was on the bridge, so there's no point.
There was no point on that war that battle.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, Louis, too. I think there was also in that first bout a little bit of confusion about the breakout rule, maybe, and that's why there needed maybe I'm wrong, but there had to be like a clarification.
Yeah.
And so the fairest thing to do was like just to like award no point.
Right. Exactly. The clarification was something like breakouts were not allowed, but that was after the 10 minutes that they were not allowed, and breakouts were starting to happen on some of the bridges, and then I don't know if it was marshals or were calling that breakouts can't happen, and so there's a little bit of confusion.
Right.
And yeah, maybe on that uncontested empty bridge, maybe there was people there, but I think they called it as.
Those are our guys, real quick.
Nobody.
Those are our guys right there. Sorry. Aiden Greg Pickle.
Yeah.
And there's Maltry and Morgandol. Let's move on to the Rapier Castle. Unfortunately, no video. I couldn't find a video of this. And again, we're just fortunate when we get video. So who fought this?
I fought in this.
All right, John, you want to tell us?
Yeah, so they did a thing where they had like these kegs. I think you were supposed to like capture. I think this is that battle. I'm like, hold on, I have some notes here. What's
We
battle?
learned
Yeah,
that the term is MacGuffin.
MacGuffin. Yeah. So, yeah, it was like I don't remember. There was some lore to the battle, and I didn't hear about it. It was like it was supposed to be, like a beer keg or something that people were trying to fight over or something like that. Anyway, and I think, unfortunately, I think the battles were sort of decided because certain one side had captured them early on, but the battle was still scheduled to, like, because it was a res battle, was scheduled to continue on, and so people just kind of were fighting over these buildings. It was fairly amusing, and they like switched which side was doing what, because there was like an attacking side, and I think I ended up joining a little late, so I think I was like not 100% sure like what actually was happening, which is my bad for being late. But I don't know that there was a lot to discuss in this battle. It was fairly straightforward, and since there's no video of it.
Was it in the castle, or was it like hay bales making a castle?
It was just hay bales in front of the castle. I don't know why they called it the castle battle. It was really more of like a town battle. Would be probably a more apt description. Actually, it says castle/city watch battle on my. Okay. The Ethelmark commander had made binders for all the people who are on the command staff. It had the scenarios, and my lady was doing some second command stuff for Onstira, so when she heard I was going to be on this, she was like, here's a binder with notes in it.
Okay.
But yeah, it was I think we kind of deployed. I remember the second point we deployed on, like, the res point for the other side was like really near one of these buildings, so we were inside the building, but once we lost the building, we never got it back because the res was so close to the res point. So we ended up, because our res point was like way in the back, so it was sort of like a delaying tactic. But I think our side, the Allied side, got pretty thoroughly crushed in this one. I don't think it was very close.
Great.
Do you want to move on to the 10-person team? And Teagn, you've done this several times. Were you on this one this year?
So I was an alternate on this year, so I didn't actually fight in it, but I have fought in it in the past. I was just really tired that day because I had fought I'd fought actually in the youth tag team tournament because my son was fighting youth and I'd never done that before. So I like literally ran from there to this, and I was like, guys, happy to just sit out on this one. But yeah, so this was a war point this year. And the way it worked, I know I explained this when we did this before Pennsic, but it was basically the typical round robin, 10-on-10, single death. Every team fights every team. And then whoever has the best record gets like the prize, is the tournament winner. But because it was a war point, then you added the wins for the teams on your color side. So all the green team wins and then all the purple team wins. And it was actually very, very close. It was 8-7 green. So green, won the overall war point just by one bout. And each side had 3. So that worked out because I was like, in the rules, each side, green or purple, could have up to 5 teams. So I was like, oh, how is that going to work if it's like uneven, but it just worked out really well that it was 3 purple, 3 green. And so, yeah. So each team got 5 bouts. Right.
And these were all unbelts, right?
Yes, all unbelts.
Okay. And this is, for those that don't know, this is a so normally the East and the Mid do not fight in this. Normally it's not a war point. I know you covered this already, but it's but also so Aaron the Swift.
Wait, Barry. So it's a tournament that anyone can fight in. Because it's normally not a war. It's not a war point.
Oh, that's right. I forgot the East has put teams in it before.
Yeah, anyone can put a 10-person team together and fight in this.
Okay.
Is it by kingdom or just any 10 people can fight?
I mean, it's typically by kingdom, but you could have a 10 like we had the mercenary group was one of the 10-person teams. It could be anybody.
It
Because-
could be the,
because
it could
it's
be
not
the
a
4
war
of us
point.
and 6 other people.
Yeah,
You know,
because
well,
it's not a war point.
except that
you
we're
know.
knights, but other than that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyone
it's
can
just
fight.
there's no knights allowed.
I think I did fight in this a few years ago before I was knighted, but I didn't. It was kind of like a last minute thing. They're like, "Hey, do you want to come do this?" And I was like, "Okay." And I didn't even really. I wasn't 100% sure what I was doing. So,
Yeah.
or what the rules or how it was structured, what the traditions were, or whatever. But
Yeah, and I don't know I don't know how true this story is, but I know that they used to allow knights, and one year Atlantia sent a team that had like 8 dukes on it or something.
I haven't heard that.
No, there's Ursa. It's a famous picture that Ursus has. It's like, and they're all like they're like all left-handed. It was like ridiculous. It's like insane team. And when you're like, whatever, some kingdom like from far away decides to like throw a team together with whoever shows up, and it's just not fun and not competitive. So I think they just decided making an unbelt team after that. I don't know how much that influenced it. But anyway, yeah, anybody can have a team. But I do know that, like I said, Aaron the Swift from Ethelmark, Sir Aaron the Swift now, was a regular at our local practice, and he told me that that like Ethelmark, this is kind of like their unbelt team moment, and Atlantia, Teagn, I think, can attest the same way. Atlantia and Ethelmark always put together like a main team, and they really, really, really want to win it every year.
And yes, that is absolutely true for both Ethelmark and Atlantia. And there is a question about would they consider making this a war point in the future? And we were just talking about this before the show started. I mean, I think that's a decision of the East Kingdom and Mid-Realm royals who are in charge of Pennsic next year. But yeah, I mean, I think it just depends.
All right. So, yeah, and I saw there's a nice video. I know Teagn did this team for the first time a few years ago. Was it 2 years ago? Yeah, and I remember you really had a lot of fun. We talked about the end of Pennsic, like what your favorite moment was. You said it was like a really close battle. I think it was between you and Ethelmark, and it was like the last fight you guys fought each other, and then your team came out ahead. It was like a really good like bonding moment for everyone, and it was just. And another thing that's kind of nice about it too is that you fight several rounds. So if you make a mistake, you get to go back and like make some adjustments. You get to have alternates that get to be put on the team. You can bring like 13 people, and you make sure everyone fights. And it's also you get to watch the other teams fight too. So like that's kind of fun,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
yeah,
definitely
really fun day.
It's a bonding moment for each individual team, but then all the teams collectively together that participate in this.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed watching it. So let's move on to what are we up to? Tuesday?
That was the end of Tuesday.
Monday. And now we're going to Woods.
We got a lot to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we would like to give special shout out and special thanks to the awesome, amazing person who videoed this Woods battle. That would be me.
You just wanted to play with your new camera toy. You can just.
I did. I got it right here.
It's kind of a fun view.
Yeah. It's that's the little camera right there.
It really has that video game feel to it.
Yeah. Actually, when Barry was showing me his footage before this, it feels like it's sped up. And he's like, no, this is how it is.
Yeah, well, actually, and for those of you that may have seen my Facebook reels go around, one of them went pretty viral. One's got like 120,000 views, so I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. But Wait, one of them I mashed together.
120,000.
What's that?
What did you say? 120,000?
Yes.
Oh,
that's great.
Yeah, most of these. Oh, I just killed Xerxes right there. Everyone
Nice.
saw it. Oh, I like Jesus right there. Quick side note to that. I sent him a friend request. We've actually never met before, but it's he had killed me earlier, and he killed me in a straight up one-on-one. I was taking him on, and he killed me. And if you watch the long video, I mutter about it all the way back to the res point. Mutter about all the way up. And I will be honest, I did look for him, and I wanted to get him back. So anyway, so I enjoyed it. So I don't know if he's watching this video, if anyone's friends with him or anything, but no, he's a great fighter, and he's a lot of fun out there. Did Sive actually pause this on purpose, or is it just frozen? I don't know. Well, anyway, is that frozen, Sive? Did she step out? Okay. But anyway, yeah, the woods battle. Not much of the woods battle. I know that so typically the woods battle is there's three flags in the woods. Louis and I were kind of near each other last year on opposite sides. We had we were on the losing side, and every woods is different. We were on the losing side, we were outnumbered. This year I was on the winning side in that same flank, and we outnumbered them, and it just makes for a very different experience. Not more fun or less fun. In fact, I would say losing was more fun because it made it a real challenge. Winning it's a little more boring. Longer walks to res, a lot more walking. John, did you fight in this one?
I did both woods.
Okay, how'd you like it? Where were you?
I think it was mostly in the middle flag. I think.
So you'd have been near Atlantia.
Yeah, I just kind of fought with Boomy a lot.
Okay.
Since Onstjoren and Atlantia were on the same side this year, I was just like, and I think I was the only Onstjoren that went to the woods for the armored woods this year. So I kind of looked around like I'm the only one here. So I just kind of fought with Atlantia.
Yeah, apparently Onstjorens don't like woods. Something about bees and poison ivy.
I like the woods, so maybe I'm weird, but maybe we're just not used to having a lot of trees in Texas or something. But
there's a funny quote by our king, and it was something to the effect of someone from the mid said the East is good at the woods because we like play in the woods all the time. We have all these trees, and he said, "I don't know what you're talking about. I live in Brooklyn. We have one tree. They wrote a book about it." So looks like we got some technical issues, but looks like we're still talking, so that's good.
Yeah. I fought in the Rapier Woods, and we ended up going with as a unit across to fight with Atlantia and Ethelmark. So I got to fight against all my people.
And
was that like an arranged like to balance sides, or that was just like okay.
That was to help balance sides. They noticed when they try to do counts. When things start out, and sometimes you can feel if there's an imbalance, and they were like, "Hey, we're just gonna send a unit of I don't know, it was like a dozen people." So we went across.
And how is the Rapier Woods different than the Armored Woods? So
normally they do it. It's the same scenario. They do it a little like for less time. But this year they did, instead of fighting over flags, they did every time you rezzed, someone would had a little like counter thing, and they would click it, and so whichever side had more rezzes lost, right? So it's basically like a team deathmatch.
100 minutes war style.
Yeah, which was interesting. I heard some. I thought it ended up being fine. I think some people were worried it would encourage a more defensive style of fighting. It didn't seem to do that. So,
there's a question in the chat about the armored woods and the people who were in the middle and north banners. Did combat archery make a difference in terms of tactics? So, the way it was set up is that there was a perimeter where CA could fire, and it was basically from the middle banner to the north banner. I didn't see a ton of CA. I know a lot of combat archers don't prefer to fight in the woods because they don't want to lose their arrows, and it's a limited range. So from a tactic standpoint, at least from my perspective, I don't think there was much there other than just the CA people just getting to where they could be in that perimeter.
It was so the lane I think was going to be the other direction, and I think they made a change and rotated it sideways, and it really became different. I do want to mention at least for our reign Pennsic 50, I believe there were no arrows that were lost, and this year I think the total was 3 arrows were lost.
Wow.
So on the average, they try to fight in areas and shoot in areas that are more clear.
Mhm.
So they're doing pretty good in terms of actually not losing much. But it was challenging because the instead of it being in the direction that goes from res toward the center and being able to shoot down that lane, it was you had to get the archers had to walk all the way out to the middle and shoot sideways.
Mhm.
And it was maybe difficult. And if they got killed, then they got to walk all the way back. But on their way walking all the way out to the middle to get to the area, if that area was already pushed back past the line, they could get killed before they could get to the area that they could defend themselves. So
Yeah.
awkward.
Yeah. So it was like an awkward orientation for them.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick. So Saiva's clicking through some photos right now, and one of the things Teagn actually pointed this out to me. It's one of the things I've sort of taken for granted is there's a Facebook page called East Kingdom Photography, and it is really, really good.
They're
there's
phenomenal.
some really good albums in there.
Yeah.
I mean, the photography we've taken for granted that in our household we have some really good photographers in the household, and I know like Master Ursus was one of the first people ever to put up his stuff on the internet, and now we've just gotten it's just amazing how much even better the photography has gotten. Like just some really good angles, and moments are capturing, and the coloring of the photos. It just it's amazing.
Yeah, like Atlantia has some good photographers. I feel like Master Ursus from Atlantia is like a pioneer in this. But I mean, the photographers, especially these East Kingdom photographers, they have leveled up. I mean, some of these shots are just amazing.
Yeah, I want to say I saw a number floating around that there was like East had around 30,000 photos go up.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. And there's so many of them. Brendan Crane, I forget whose page this is. It probably says it on the top there. Oh, if I have my glasses on, I can read it. Joshua Feldman. Yeah. Really good. Yeah, we've got some others. Do we want to move on to well, we don't have a video for the siege battle, but that's what happened on Wednesday. Has anyone done that before?
So I have never done it, but I thought it was what's the word I'm looking for? Conceited.
What are you saying? They're like really arrogant?
Yeah, like it was super arrogant. No, conceited with a C. And I could be wrong about that, but that's what I thought I heard. So it didn't actually.
I heard they did have a battle.
Okay.
And I believe that happened. I think so.
It was Wednesday.
Yeah, if anyone's in the comments knows the answer, the version I heard was something to the effect of one side brought a lot more machines than the other side, and they said, okay, we'll just concede the point. And then it turned out that the side that brought all the machines didn't bring the crews to operate them all. So it was actually fairly even. I don't know if that's true or not. Regardless, I heard some people were upset that the battle was not happening, but then I talked to some other people that said, no, the battle absolutely happened, and they enjoyed themselves and stuff.
And
if anybody in the chat,
Ethelmark Atlantia was 3-0. So they did, they got the points on that.
Yeah. But if anyone has clarity on that in the chat, please drop it. Drop it in.
There was like 3 scenarios. First, it was like an accuracy, and then second was siege. So the first one was siege accuracy. The second one was siege combined with CA, and the third was CA by itself.
Now here we go, Caitlin. It was a mix of many things. Long story short, the Allies were really ahead, and the war point was negotiated to the coalition. Okay, sounds good.
And the battle did happen.
Yeah, the battle. That's what's. I'll say this: like, it's not the kind of thing I would be into. I mean, it's neat to watch. It's neat that it exists. I really do like the effect of having ballistas flying across the field. Kind of gives it almost. Kind of reminds me of like the beginning of Gladiator, the movie Gladiator with Russell Crowe. Like it's really kind of gives like an epic feel to it.
Yeah.
But the few people I know that are into it, they really love it. They're like tinkerers. They're engineers. They love building machines. It's almost like the pumpkin chunk that we used to have in Delaware, where they would pumpkin. That's a real thing. It's been like on TV and stuff.
I've heard about it.
What's up next? I guess John, you'd be the expert on this. The rapier 5-sword melee.
Yeah, so this was a new war point.
Real quick, I fight 2-sword, and it's very hard. I can't imagine how hard 5-sword would be.
That seems like that would be hard. So they did. I think they basically did. They ended up doing. The Atlantia traditionally does a 5-person melee tournament at Pennsic, and they still did that. So this was an addition. They didn't just like make it a war point. They did an additional one. And I think there were. I can't remember how many teams there were. They did like sub, and people could sub in and out. And there was only 2 Masters of Defense per team, is what I was told. And I think an Ethelmark team ended up winning, if I'm not mistaken. And I definitely had some friends who fought and said I was gonna fight in this, and then I ended up having to do something else. But
yeah, Ethelmark Atlantia got the point on this.
Yeah, but I think the team that actually won the last point or won the most was an actual team, mostly of Ethelmark people. This looks like mostly an Atlantean team, a Condottieri, which is a Boomies household actually, in the blue and black.
So you are also you're a knight and a mod, is that correct?
That is correct.
And Boomy is as well. So, and I know we had an episode about the crossover fighting. So that's really impressive. Now, were you mod first or knight first?
I was mod first, yeah.
Okay.
Which is
so you guys went the other way. Oh no, you actually went the same way. That's right. Boomy was also mod first.
I was the first. There's several mod knights in on Styria, but I was the first mod to be knighted. So I was the first to go that direction.
Okay. Nice. I don't know how, man, there's not enough hours in the day.
I definitely don't do rapier as much as I used to because of doing armored now. So.
Louis, do you have an ambition to be a mod someday? Are you working toward that?
I don't know. I'm enjoying playing, and I probably dedicate about a third of my time to it, maybe a little more than like closer to half. I don't know. I'm just trying to keep at it right now and get some consistency and do a little better.
Okay. That's a very humble way of saying yes. No, I'm kidding. Well, that's a hard question because like a lot of times that like when you say that kind of presumes like, oh yeah, I totally could do it because I got the talent and I'm so awesome. But
right.
I just didn't know if that was something you were working toward or not.
Have I been chasing down tournaments? Not really.
Okay. Well, okay.
Just practice.
For anyone listening, going after any peerage or not, that's a good way to answer that because if you don't want to say yes, and then people are like, "Well, you sure don't look like you're trying." Not chasing down the tournaments,
right? So I was just mentioning, I just got my AOA level fencing award. So
oh, nice, congrats.
Well, I don't know how that is in the mid, but there's a lot. I know a lot of good fencers that yeah, it just seems like I don't know if there's other things they have to get, but like I know a lot of good fencers that don't have a grant level award, like really good fencers, and some really good fencers aren't mods too. So, but congrats on your AOA fencing award.
Thank you.
Is this the third one? I know there's 5 of them, right? Now, are they different teams or are they the same teams run 5 times?
I think they were allowed to sub people in and out. So they would rotate some of the people from the different teams.
Yeah.
And this is something like that, so they've been doing the Atlantean 5-person for years and years and years. It's usually one of the most well-attended rapier things at that's not a war point at Pennsic. And so there are definitely people who like spend a year like making a team and training and practicing to do well in that. So especially in Atlantia, they take it, they run it, but they also have people in there who take that tournament seriously.
Well, it looks like SCA Tally also featured in this one. That's the marshal there.
They seem a little more aggressive on the footwork here. Kind of running into the engagements a little bit.
And then what's next? Armored City Assault. So I'm gonna let Teagn take this, but I'm gonna say something first. I'm gonna give you some behind the scenes. I think Teagn told me that if it did not go well, it was Auburn's idea.
I'm not throwing my king under the bus.
No, you don't have to. I did. I just threw him under the bus.
Yeah, but you said that I said.
I'm just telling the truth. I can't. You want me to lie to your king?
Throwing me under the bus.
You want me to lie to your king? Is that what you're suggesting? No, go ahead. By the way, I was not there for this. I got positive feedback. Teagn was very upset, by the way, when I told her I wasn't going to fight this thing. I'm like, I'm getting old, man. I can't fight all these battles. I just can't. So
I actually got positive feedback from this too, even though it was more convoluted than the field and the woods and the bridge. People liked that it was super intense fighting, but also that there was some real strategy to it. So just to recap, and I'll try to keep it quick, is there was an attacking team and a defending team. The defending team started inside the city, which had buildings that were made out of hay bales. Attacking team started outside. And it was 3 phases. The first phase was a siege phase that the siege engines had to hit targets in order to open the gates to the city and the attackers could get in. And then the attackers had 6 flags, 5 of which had to be planted inside these buildings in the center, and the 6th and final one in a fort, which is not the actual castle fort, but hay bale fort. And the team who got their flags in where they were supposed to be the fastest won. And so there was a lot of strategy. And I'm curious to hear from Louis, what the purple side strategy was. The purple team did win in faster time. But I feel like there was a lot of strategy on, how to get through the gates, who was going to plant what flags where, on your side, which team was going to, kind of head towards which building. And the buildings had corresponding res points. So which the defenders controlled, but as each building fell, a res point went away. So that kind of pushed the fighting more towards the end where the fort was. Right. So there were a lot of holds, which people were kind of moaning about, but that was partial because of marshals trying to, figure out, okay, which buildings were taken and make sure that everything was accounted for properly. But the fighting was very intense, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, I want to interject something here with battles like this, because I marshaled the one. I think Timothy was Marshal 1 the previous year, and I marshaled the river battle. Was that a year ago or 2 years ago?
2 years ago. That was the River Sen.
Yeah. And I remember we had 2 problems. One was, unfortunately, on the first, it was one of those things you do it once and you switch sides. And we had, as marshals, we had some learning on the first one. And then, which meant that we were sort of more efficient with the rules on the second one, which affects the time. And we didn't do anything crazy. We weren't oh, this is the rule for the first one, we're making a different rule for the second one. We just got better at it, right? Because it's a new battle. And the other thing that happened was that one had flags you had to grab in a specific order, and somebody grabbed a flag out of order, and the marshals didn't catch it, and it kind of screwed up the timing. But for everyone that was just there to have a good time, everyone liked the battle. It just, in terms of who actually wins. Oh, and the other problem we ran into that one too. And I hate to say this, I know that they've been trying to do some more collaborative stuff with the fencing community, armor community, fencing community. And the problem is when you do a armored first, then fencing, then armored, then fencing, or vice versa, could start with fencing, is that what ends up happening is that you end up waiting an hour between, in the middle of the battle. And it's just, it makes it difficult. And a lot of times people fight the first half and then they're like, man, it's Friday. I got to get that camp broken down. And then they head out. So anyway, sorry, there's a long interjection for me. Louis.
Yeah, a little bit on this battle. The rules were about 3 pages long, and trying to how this ended up getting written up. And I think that added a layer of complexity. And as we were working through it, there were some issues, and they did a rule set change that was a good page long worth of changes the night before. I think that saved a lot of gaming that could have happened. So in the end, I think it cleaned up a little bit pretty good. But it complicates it for the marshals to understand what they're trying to do.
Sounds almost like a high-powered lawyer from Washington, D.C. got involved in this thing.
Who could that be?
We were mid and east were defending first. Whoever was down in points got to attack first, and I think that was actually a disadvantage for you guys because
I think it was too. Even
got
though
to
we
see
had
what you did.
Yeah, even though we had familiarity with the scenarios, because Atlantia was tasked with coming up with the idea, I do think it was a disadvantage. But it was still, I thought it was still really unique and fun.
And we kind of we started to talk a little bit about this earlier, but at the end, Teagn had the banner to put in the fort at the back end, and we'll say the last level of this battle level, part 3, and couldn't see through all the people that were crowded in that space of where on the ground the spray paint was to get the marker. Because it's got to be on the circle on the ground.
Yeah,
that was really so I actually bumped into Teague, and I'm like, run this way.
And I didn't realize it was you at the time, but I'm glad you told me that. I couldn't see it. I was actually like behind the fort, like where the res point was, and then finally, thank you, steered me in the right direction. And I probably lost like 2 minutes on that just because there were so many people packed in and around the fort at the end, kind of Alamoing it, that I couldn't see it.
Yeah, in the middle, because I had come from the middle of the fort where the banner was to go, and everybody's like, "Where's the banner?" So I ended up you were more toward the back end of the fort. Yeah, it was really kind of the haze of the battle.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think if something like this were to be run again, there's like some lessons learned. But again, I thought it created a level of like strategizing that was unique. Or like kind of like Barry said in the beginning, like if you just want to fight and have fun, there was plenty of that.
Right. It was so my not great, but also had a lot of fun part of this was the two Chucks actually were attacking on both scenarios. So instead of them going to one side, they attacked on both and went with both sides.
It was kind of like a rebalancing of the war kind of thing. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So as we were defending at the beginning part of it, as we were starting to collapse back a little bit, because that's how that battle is going to go, we got pushed back to that first res point, and two Chucks were fighting over there, and they would kill me, and I'd touch my sword straight down in front of me on the hay bale where res point was, and resurrect, and then I get killed again, and resurrect and killed again, and this went on for and it was very confusing because I just kept fighting, but I was hollering out res, but it was this weird scenario where they hadn't got the banner in yet, so the res point didn't flip yet, but we were standing on the res point, dying and resing all at the same time. It was crazy.
Did you guys fight on the same side, you and Teagn, or you were just telling her where to go?
He was just being nice.
Yeah, no, we got back to we ended up getting to the back end of the fort, and at that point we're trying to defend it and stop them from getting in. But I mean, we're all out there to have fun. So
Would
That
you
was
have done
very
that if
nice
she
of
made a
you.
wrong turn in a cross country race in front of you? Louis and I both ran cross country in high school and college. And I don't know. I'm a bit jealous at how your knees seem to feel out there. My knees are paying for it now.
Oh, it's my shoulder and my everything else. So like
Okay.
But the knees are doing okay. Mostly the ankles and the Achilles tendons are doing terrible.
Oh yeah. My ankles are bothering me now. What we got left here? Armored City Battle. Oh no, we just said Armored City Battle.
Rapier.
There's a rapier battle. Why don't I have it written down here?
Is it the Rapier Conquest battle?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, this
Okay.
one was a little. This one, I don't know that we have video of this one, but this one was a little strange. It was a capture the flag thing. I think you had to grab the flag. And then they did it. They were gonna do it. They were gonna run it like 5 times, and they ended up running it once. Or they did the first one, and the East Mid team scored pretty quick. And then I think in the second battle, people are like kind of realizing they needed to be more defensive, and that battle like went on forever. And then some people were getting hurt because they scattered hay bales all across the field kind of randomly that were like 2 or 3 feet off the ground, and people were just tripping all over on them. And you could fight over them. And so I kind of got what they were going for with that idea, like to break up the battle and have people kind of move around things. But the hay bales were just a little too low. And
is it hard to see in a rapier mask like down at your feet?
I don't think particularly. I think people were just like backing up. Like someone was coming at them, and especially they let rapier spears happen in that battle. So like if people were like trying to close on a spear, and people just tripped a lot on the hay bales.
Yeah. I can also imagine in rapier you can back up faster. So I think armored we tend to kind of like scooch back a little bit, but yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And they were just, I think if they had just made him a little taller, like built the little stacks up a little taller, you would just see him out of your peripheral vision a little better.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It didn't bother me a ton, but I know a lot of people who like tripped over them and hurt themselves. So I think that was unfortunate. But the battle was I thought was going pretty good, and there was like back and forth pushes and some good flanking maneuvers and stuff. And so I was I thought it was too bad that they ended up calling it short, cutting it short. We only did 2 of like I guess 2.5 of the 4 that we were going to do or something like that.
Why was that? Why did they call it short?
Because people were getting upset about things.
Oh.
I think people's tempers were getting a little high. I think not where I was. I thought it was fine, but they apparently other places people were getting frustrated. I think because of maybe the tripping on the hay bales and some other things. But I don't know. I heard it like second or third hand what happened exactly. But
that ended up being an even split between both sides that day, 5-5.
I can tell you. Yes, it was 5-5.
Yep.
And then I guess we had the field battles on Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, and I know historically, my experience in the last 10 years or so, field battles have either been Monday or Friday, and it's always the balance. Field battles tend to be the best spectator sport. They tend to be one of the more fun battles. And if you have them on Monday, they're big. But sometimes they have them on Friday to kind of hopefully keep people around. So like if you have sometimes you have another battle on Friday, people just end up leaving. If it's not one they're excited about. So this is one. And I'll be honest, like I was all set to leave on Friday. I did. But the fact that there was a field battle on Friday, I was actually going to try to get in there and fight and film it, but I broke my selfie stick. So I went home. I pouted and went home. Oh yeah. Also, they involve no hay bales. That's something I never really considered. It's less work for people on Fridays.
And they had CA and Siege for battle 1, 2, and 3 here.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So and I don't know if we're seeing Siege take
I was
part
going to
in
say,
this.
I don't feel like,
But it was open for siege.
yeah, there were definitely combat archers, but yeah, you don't really see any ballistas flying around.
All I got to say is I think if you're going to have siege in this battle, they should require the siege teams to say, but sir, won't we hit our own people? And then they have to say, yes, but we'll hit theirs too.
Oh, that's what bridge battles are for.
So,
We got pounded in our backs a good little bit by some friendly.
so did we on our side. I really want to like get with the siege people and be here. Like, you just need to angle it a little higher. I do want to say something about this though, because this was the experimental death on the ground, and it was so there were 5 bouts, single death, and it was run in the first bout, and then the marshals made a call to nix it for the remaining 4 bouts, if I'm not mistaken.
And so what was the death on the ground that they were trying, and what was the issue with it?
Well, if you had 3, they were saying 3 points of contact, but we'll call it 3 limbs of contact. If you were like on your knees and your hand or your hand pressing on your shield was on the ground, somebody could put their sword on you and say dead on the ground, and then you're dead. So if you did a charge and you fell down and they happen to catch you when you're down, instead of hitting you while you're trying to recover, it's just easier to say you're dead.
Yeah.
Right. And it seems like the spirit of the rule is like so in the past I would do this thing, like if I fell over and I got back up and I was on my side, then I just kept fighting. I just remember this like from years ago.
Same here.
But if I fell over and they had charged across me and I got up in their backfield, I would just call myself dead because I didn't think it was fair to run around and like start killing people. And I think the spirit of the rule is that maybe some people are like, aha, you didn't kill me and I'm still alive. They run around and start attacking people from behind.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. I mean, I wasn't involved.
Yeah, I just remember after the first battle, like being told, okay, death on the ground is off. Death on the ground is no longer in play. I don't know if it was because of an aggression thing, if people were complaining after that first bout. I honestly don't know, but
I didn't hear any feedback on that. But it is a common rule that is, we'll say, west of the Mississippi.
Right. And I think the issue is you had a lot of Easterners who don't do this rule normally, and maybe
not specifically East Kingdom, but East.
No, east of the Mississippiers. And maybe people didn't really, maybe were overly excited about the rule.
My concern is when you get 1,000 fighters and you change the rules from year to year, then that's opportunity that creates confusion, and the gameplay seems to work better the less confusion that we have. The smoother the battles tend to run.
Yeah,
and the tempers.
Yeah, this was also after the first bout. The 2 chucks moved over to force balance.
Yeah, I find it interesting that throughout the week, so for example, I didn't know about the bridge battle score and the fact that the bridge battles were very even. Like I said, the Sunday worked out the way I expected. Atlanta Althamark won the Allied Champs battle easily, and then it flipped for the other 2 battles. I expected that. And again, not much familiarity with the rapier side. And then Monday, the bridge battles were very even, and then the woods battle, I felt like the woods battle was pretty lopsided, or at least
actually, Barry, the bridges were pretty lopsided too in favor of purple. But
the purple won 4 out of the 5 of the bridges.
Yeah.
But the first battle was half and half, and then we had that where they threw out that one bridge, and then nobody got the point for that first battle.
And I think at the second bridge battle, it was like 3-2, so it was close, but then it got progressively less.
Oh, okay.
And then the woods was actually, I have that. It was 7-2 purple.
Okay. So who got the 2? That must have been your right flank then, I assume.
Yeah, it was at the mark.
That was the North Banner. I believe got the 2 points there.
Yeah, I'm saying we had our banner under control the whole time, and at least from the Atlanteans I talked to, the center banner was really not contested. So it must have been that right, your right flank, our left.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and then sorry, Rapier Field. Did anyone here participate in it?
I did not get to participate. I normally try to go out on Friday still, but we were just tearing down camp all day, so.
Yeah, it's understandable.
It's a long
I
time.
remember we used to break down camp on Sunday.
Yeah.
Those days are long gone. Now I think you're not even allowed on a Sunday. So, all right, we're at 9:29. Do we have any big? Do we miss anything? I think we got everything right. Some other battles out there. I looked up Rapier Castle battle. I couldn't find anything. I almost threw up the pictures of the I think it's video of the children's castle battle.
Yeah, you know what? I would say if anybody has some links to videos that we didn't find, please throw them in the chat, and we'll all add those to our lists. And I'm sure we'll have a playlist that we're trying to compile as well that we can dump in there.
Well, thanks everyone for joining. Let's do final thoughts. So, which is a song from the death metal band Obituary, but these are not your actual final thoughts. It's final thoughts by the end of the episode. So, Earl, Louis, what do you got?
I don't know. Overall, had a good time this year. I did a little more command stuff. The battles were pretty good. I would say that the points weren't necessarily all even all the way through, but there were units mixing back and forth, and I would say the fighting was more friendly this year than from my perspective. We saw a lot more even-tempered fighting. It seemed to go pretty good. We didn't see a lot of overly excited people.
All right, Sir Master John Drake.
Yeah, I thought this was a good Pennsic. Weather was really good, at least coming from a Texans perspective.
It was nice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hot.
And yeah, I thought I didn't have any issues, and I thought all the battles I fought in were great. On both fields, had a great time. Got a lot of rape. I usually go to Pennsic for pickups, if I'm being honest with y'all. So for rapier pickups mostly, actually. So got a lot of those in. So I had a great time. Thanks for having me on too. Appreciate that.
Yeah, very nice. I know they've been working on the pickup culture a bit, and it seems to have picked up. Ew. I'll be here all week.
Is this thing on? Sorry.
Your Excellency.
Yes, I agree about the weather. Even for an Atlantean, the weather was really, really good. Low humidity, hardly any rain during war week. So, I mean, for me, the purple Pennsic was very eye-opening. I can't say I'm ready to do a purple Pennsic again next year, but I think there was a lot of the more opportunities for fighting was really great. And I also agree about the comment about the pickups and also the coaches corners. I was able on the Friday able to take some coaches corners classes and do some pickups, which in past I've never really sought out to do. So I really appreciated that.
Awesome.
All right, and then I guess I'll finish up with me. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good Pennsic. It was fun. It's it's funny actually. I've been going to golf wars a lot the last couple of years, and I've really kind of made some good friends with a lot of people from the mid realm. I think Louis would be one, and Sive, who's behind the scenes here. And so it was nice to be able to fight a war with you rather than against you. So that was kind of a fun bonding experience. Yeah, no, it was a good Pennsic. I'm hitting the twilight of my fighting years, and so I'm just trying to figure out. Like I said, I only fought 2 battles as Pennsic. I used to be like a 6 minimum kind of battle fighter, and it's been some adjusting. But I had a good time. So, and I'm glad that we had this Coach's Corner episode to cover it. Thanks for in the comment section. Thanks for all the. Hello, Kelly. We got Kelly signed on 8 minutes ago. And thanks for all the future people that are going to watch this episode and reminisce over how much fun they had at Pennsic. So with that, I guess let's cue the outro music. If there's outro music. Teagn, beatbox.
Is there a show